I now recognize Mr. Gomez of California.
Let me be clear. Democrats and Republicans both say that there's no place for fraud. Democrats, it's because it undermines people's faith that government is actually doing the job that they're supposed to do. And I think that's a big deal. And also, I appreciate the gentleman from Florida mentioning that there was fraud in a Republican-run state, and it's not just the Democratic states that had the problem. And also, one of the biggest ways that fraud happens is through weak security measures that leave people's personal information vulnerable. Mr. Meivenberg, what kind of training do state worker agency employees receive to ensure that they are protecting personal information?
Yes, it's at least 6 to 8 weeks worth of training with a heavy emphasis on protecting identity information and all personally identifiable information.
Social security numbers, birthdays,
Yes.
accounts, anything that can say this person is associated with this, this information is associated with that individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's, I want a bureaucrat to be just a pain in the ass. I want them to oh, you don't have the proper information, rejected it. Oh, you want to access this information? You need this form, you need this clearance, you need this kind of training. You don't? Too bad, you can't have it. And but something that's going on now at the federal level is when it comes to Secretary Bessent and President Trump. I don't think Secretary President or President Trump made sure Elon Musk got that kind of training, or any training that, for that matter, before all of our personal data was turned over to him. How can, I want my friends on the other side of the aisle to see this as a big, big issue. Because if there's nothing there being a check, this is becoming the largest fraud and scam of our government when it comes to personal information in our history. This is at a time when people are struggling with skyrocketing rent, when grocery prices are through the roof, and when child care costs are out of control. What are Donald Trump and Secretary Bessent doing? They give Elon Musk, an unelected, unconfirmed, untrained, special, quote-unquote, special government employee, and the rest of his tech bros access to every American's sensitive and personal financial information. They have access to our bank accounts, to your bank accounts. If you file taxes electronically, you paid your taxes, you've received payments, they have access to all your accounts. We need to do something to address that. And it doesn't matter where they have access to everybody's information. If you live in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, California, and that is risking a massive personal data leak that can lead to identity theft on an unprecedented scale. I had my identity stolen, so I know how painful it is to have to prove who you are and to get your money back, and to make sure that you're not going into debt. Improper disclosure of taxpayer information is considered a felony under Section 6103, punishable up to 5 years in prison, as well as $5,000 fine. And that's just for one instance of improper tax disclosure. What's the punishment for every single American? That's the scale of this potential fraud and breach of information. Is Secretary Bessent's careless disregard for our most sensitive personal information worthy of articles of impeachment? I don't know yet, because they refuse to hand over any information of what occurred in the last several days. But this is a serious, unprecedented situation. Secretary Bessent needs to come before this committee and answer questions and violating the people's trust, but also when it comes to their personal information. We can't stand for it. Fraud is fraud, no matter who does it. Is it a public employee? Is it a criminal enterprise? Or even if it's the Secretary of the Treasury himself. We need to stop it, and we need answers now. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez.